Hello, welcome back. I might have been a bit too fast with switching. Anyways, we are back with the story We Three Kings by Polka Dotted Giraffe 11. As we have not yet finished that one. So, let's relax with the fire and maybe some water. Water's good. Let's fill our cups or glasses or whatever you're drinking from. A little bit of water. That is always good. Don't spill like I did, which is a bad thing. Okay, water acquired. It's 11 minutes of past 3 p.m. here. Wherever you're at. Hope you're having a great day, great night, or great evening, whichever you're at. So, let's continue. If you have any questions or if you want to hear the chapters before this one, write in the chat and I will, after the chapters that I've read and we're done with those, I will answer all the questions and writing in the chat that you have. We have a little new friend though. I want to just add, there's a bee in on the screen. It's a cute bee on the screen. It's a pride bee, which is a fantastic little bee. That bee will probably say hello when you say hello. You never know. Anyways, once again, back to reading some chill. We Three Kings, Chapter 10. Now the Elite Guard. No one's point of view. The fight with the newborns, with the aid of the werewolves, have been long and terrifying. For Bella at least. But now the Cullen Coven gathered in the smoke-filled clearing, shifting uneasily, awaiting the Volturi Guard as 2 newborn vampires remained surrounded by the Cullens. Jasper, the closest to them. I hope you can hear. One of them, a young female, suddenly threw her head back like an animal and wailed shrilly. Jasper growled in return, shifting into a crouch, making the female dig her fingers into the ground like claws and whip her head back and forth in anguish. Edward moved with overdone casualness, turning Bella and his body so that he was between the newborns and Bella. Carlyle was at Jasper's side in an instant. Have you changed your mind, young one? Carlyle asked. We do not want to destroy you, but we will if you can't control yourself. How can you stand it? I want her, the girl groaned. You must stand it, Carlyle told her gravelly. You must exercise control. It is possible, and it is the only thing that will save you now. Shouldn't we move away from her? Bella asked Edward in a hushed tone. We have to stay here. They're coming to the north end of the clearing now, Edward informs in a tense tone. Bella's heart and mind burst into a sprint, her mind running a million miles a minute with anxiety as her gaze searched through the haze of choking smoke. After what was a meaningless search, finally Carlyle and Jasper moved back towards Bella and Edward, the rest of the Cullen coven closing ranks quickly, a united front. A voice finally said in a bored tone, as a dark group stepped through the thick smoke, finally a group solidifying. The Cullen coven notes the extra members of the guard. They were clearly more than necessary, and it puts the Cullens in an uneasy state. It had only been a few months. Surely the Volturi had not changed their mind. Yet why were there more than the typical guard members for a situation such as this? Welcome, Jane. Edward's tone was calm and polite, but there was a tenor of a notable strain. I don't understand, Jane says flatly, clearly indicating to the two. They surrendered, Edward explained. Surrendered? Jane questions. Carlyle gave them an option. Edward shrugs, the Cullen coven not missing the look Felix gave Dimitri. They are no option for those who break the rules, Jane says flatly. That is in your hands. As long as they were willing to halt their attack on us, I saw no need to destroy them. They were never taught. Carlyle spoke mildly. That is irrelevant, Jane insists. As you wish, Carlyle replies. Then it appears that you've done our work for us today. For the most part, Jane says, tilting her head to look down at her nose at the two newborns.
Linnea kan inte prata just nu.
You there. Jane turns her attention to the girl. Your name? The girl shoots a baffled glare at Jane, her lip curling into a snarl. Jane smiles back angelically. The newborn girls answer a piercing scream, body arching unnaturally. Your name, Jane says, without inflection. Bree. Jane smiles again as she uses her power on the newborn again. She'll tell you anything you want to know, Edward says through gritted teeth. You don't have to do that. Oh, I know, Jane says, smiling almost angelically, turning to face the young newborn, the other cringing away from Jane. Jane, enough. Anastasia's voice finally commands, cutting through the silence, startling Bella and the Cullen coven, having not heard another heartbeat. Afton using his mental and physical shield to shield the queen. Additionally, she had been behind the full protection of the guard. Yes, my queen, my apologies. Jane apologizes, bowing to Anastasia as the queen pushes through the guard to see the newborns. Anastasia feels like she has been punched in the face at what she saw. Justin. That was Justin, her best friend. Her mind reeled. Queen Anastasia, I am assuming. Welcome. Carlyle asks politely, getting first look at the new ruler of the Volturi, leader of the vampire world, and mates to Aro, Caius, and Marcus. Anastasia, please. Aro, Anastasia says, Carlyle distracting her, automatically beginning to correct the leader of the Cullen Coven. However, at the same time, the other newborn who, up till this point, have been well behaved, suddenly lunges at Anastasia. The Volturi Guard act within seconds. Jane, Alec, and Felix moving before even the Cullen Coven, let alone Bella, could move or react. Guardia, battuta di arresto, Anastasia commands in Italian. Jane, Alec, and Felix freezing in a mere milliseconds. My queen, I do not understand, Jane protests. Non mettere in discussion la tua regina, Anastasia commands firmly, her eyes icy blue and leaving no room for incompliance. Apologize for the Italian. Yes, my queen, Jane bows, looking chastened. Alec, Anastasia commands. Yes, my queen, Alec says, his power beginning to shimmer. Within a moment, surrounding the male newborn, incapacitating him completely. Felix neatly sidestepping back to Anastasia's side. It would not do him well to be touched by Alec's power. The Cullen Coven, if it weren't for the fact that they were trying to remain united and impassive, would have been gapping at Anastasia. Bella did not have the same restraint. She flinched as she visibly saw Alec's power at work, as it numbed the male newborn into an almost comatose state. Glaring at her sister heatedly for having one of her guard members do so. She didn't understand why. Carlyle had to admit he was impressed with the way Anastasia handled the Volturi Guard, knowing how ruthless, especially Jane and Alec, were prone to be. Clearly, she had earned the guard's loyalty and respect, and not simply because she was the mate to the Volturi leaders. Rosalie was also secretly impressed. Anastasia was much different than her meek, younger half-sister. She held herself confident, though she surrounded herself with vampires. Much stronger and faster than herself, though not self-important or self-entitled. Something Bella did not do, ranging between self-righteousness or complete meekness and lack of backbone, which irritated Rosalie. Both. And though Anastasia wore the same dark cloak the rest of the Volturi Guard wore, clearly had a sense of style and fashion, unlike her half-sister, who seemed content to always wear unflattering baggy sweatshirts and shorts. Edward sent her a look, Rosalie sending him one back as if to say, what? As I was saying, Aro spoke fondly of you, Carlyle. And you may call me Anastasia. I insist. Anastasia says pleasantly, waving off a small grumble of her guard at the informality. Bree, tell us the story of your creation. Anastasia asks, completely composed. Afton scooting closer to her side, the remaining guard, for the exception of Alec, closing quick ranks. Jane giving the girl a glare but not inflicting pain. They were 19 or 20, maybe more, I don't know. Bree cringes, terrified. Sarah and the other one, whose name I don't know, got in a fight on the way. Riley never said who created us, and I didn't see what night it was. It was so dark and it hurt. He didn't want us to be able to think of her. He said that our thoughts weren't safe. Bree continues to ramble. Tell us about Riley. Why did he bring you here? Jane interrogates. Riley told us that we had to destroy the strange yellow eyes here. Bree babbled, glad not to have had pain inflicted upon her anymore. He said it would be easy. He said the city was theirs and they were coming to get us. He said once they were gone, all the blood would be ours. He gave us her scent. He said we would know that we had the right coven because she would be with them. He said whoever got to her first could have her. It looks like Riley was wrong about the easy part, Jane says, almost looking amused. Bree nods frankly in agreement, willing to keep babbling if it meant no more pain. I don't know what happened. We split up, but the others never came, and Riley left us, and he didn't come to help like he promised. And then I was so confused, and everyone was in pieces. I was so afraid. I wanted to run away. The one said they wouldn't hurt us, if we start fighting, Bree says, pointing to Carlisle. But that wasn't his gift to offer, young one, Jane tusked. Broken rules demanded consequence. Are you sure you got all of them? The other half that split off? Jane asks. We split up too, Carlisle answers with a nod. I can't deny I'm impressed. Jane nods, a murmur of agreement passing through the Volturi guard. I have never seen a coven escape this magnitude of offensive intact. Do you know what was behind it? It seemed like extreme behavior considering the way you live here. And why was the girl key? Victoria held a grudge against Bella. Edward answers. This one seems to bring out bizarrely strong reactions in our kind. Jane laughs. Would you please not do that? Edward asks, stiffening. Just checking, no harm done apparently. Jane laughs again. Well, it appears there is not much left for us to do. Odd. We're not used to be rendered unnecessarily. It's too bad we missed the fight. Sounds like it would have been entertaining to watch. Felix? Wait, Edward interjects. We could explain the rules to the young ones. They don't seem unwilling to learn. They do not know what they were doing. Of course, we will be willing to take responsibility over them. Carlisle offers. We don't, Jane begins to say, voice even. Anastasia! A high whine pierces the clearing. It was the male newborn. Justin, with his senses cut off because of Alec, was even more disoriented, but having seen his best friend, watched the familiarity of someone he knew had firmly latched onto. A low rumble of the entire Volturi guard resounds, Jane turning a gaze towards the offending male. Tenere, Jane. Anastasia calms, grabbing Jane's arm before Jane could react or use her power. There is no need, Carlisle. Newborns are, as you know, known to be violent and unmanageable. We will be taking the male back to Volterra. As to Bree, the female, you are willing to take responsibility of her. Yet your diet is difficult for even the best of those with self control to maintain. The Volturi guard and I will be here a week, as I am visiting my father, and the kings, well, should we say they are overprotective. You have a week. Should Bree show enough improvement to satisfy myself and the guard, I will grant you your wish. Should she not, you understand. Newborns are a risk, a great one. Anastasia tilts her head regally. Jane opens her mouth to protest, but Anastasia silences her with another look. My queen, Jane murmurs demurely, nodding to Felix, the burly mass of a man, moving with much more grace than would be expected to the male newborn, and hauling him up. Several other guard members melting back into the smoke. Thank you, Anastasia, Carlyle says, remaining where he was standing as not to test the Volturi guard, but offering a sincere smile. Of course, Anastasia says, smiling and turning to leave. Wait, you're not seriously visiting Dad? Bella bursts out hysterically, finding her voice. Edward instinctively tenses, picking up on Jane and Alex's defensive thoughts. And why shouldn't I, Bella? I haven't seen him over a year. I miss him. Anastasia replies calmly, but behind it is a slight challenging tone as she raises an eyebrow towards her sister, also raising a hand to hold her guard from attacking. Honestly, Anastasia was going to have a chat with them. They were just about as bad as her mates about getting defensive when someone offended her. What was she? A delicate little flower that was gonna get crushed or blown away in the wind? Because of them, Bella says hysterically, waving her hands vaguely in the Volturi guard direction. I find that a bit insulting, little sister, Anastasia says flatly, blue eyes darkening as Jane sneers as if Bella was barely worth the mud she had gotten on her brand new Christian Louboutin heels Anastasia had bought her. I assure you, my guard have excellent control. They live with me. Besides, they ate before they left Volterra. If they find themselves in need, rest assured they will leave the city and the surrounding area. They would not encroach on the Cullens' territory. Fail to comply and there are consequences. The Volturi Guard are not above the law either. Other than me, for the time I reside at home, Charlie is probably the safest human in the world, and they would hardly attack you. They don't think you smell good. It's the end of discussion. I would like to see my dad. You don't like it? Have a sleepover for a week. I'm here. With that, Anastasia huffs and turns, the remaining Volturi guard converging on her and melting back into what was left of the smoke, disappearing the way they came. Ah, what right does she have? Bella screams, stomping her foot. Does she just do this to piss me off? What does she mean I don't smell good? Bella continues to rant, Rosalie making no secret that she's snickering, Hamed laughing as well. I like your sister, Bella. You didn't tell me she got some fire. Hamed laughs his big booming laugh. Rosalie chimes in with her melodic laughter as well, hiding her vicious if not a bit vindictive, smile behind the hand as Edward gives the sister a glare after hearing her thoughts. The guard Anastasia is with, they are not the normal Volturi guard. Carlyle interrupts abruptly, having been deep in thoughts after noticing the Volturi crest glinting from the robes of the foremost members of the Volturi Guard within the group, similar to the one that lie prominent around Anastasia's neck. What do you mean, honey? Esme asks, touching her husband on her arm, now much more relaxed that the Volturi have left. The crest Jane, Alec, Felix, Dimitri, and I believe it was Afton wore as well. They were different than the others, but similar to the one that Anastasia wore. In the years I spent with the Volturi, I noticed that the guard was ranked based on their skill and their status as members. Of course, Aro, Caius, and Marcus having one that depicted them as the kings, and now Anastasia as queen. There is an elite guard. Jane, Alec, Felix, and Dimitri were always a part of it. Afton was obviously added to it recently. I remember their crest well, but it has changed. We were not only dealing with the elite guard, but the Queen's personal guard. Chapter 11. Then plans. No one's point of view. The three kings stood staring openly after their mate as she walked away from them down the street of Altera. The human boy, Jeremy, touching her casually as if it was his right. Are you going to allow this, Aro? Caius demands with outrage, a low growl forming in his chest, wanting nothing more than to rip his mate away from the offending male, draining him dry and then locking his mate up in the Volterra castle with him forever. And show her how much more desirable he was. What can we do, Caius, brother? If we wish her to trust us, wish to show her that we are the ones she should ultimately decide to be with, we cannot do anything to endanger that. Aro sighs, feeling the pull of the mate bond and the ache that was left by her slight rejection. Aro is right. Moreover, the mate bond, she is our true mate. It prevents us from hurting or harming her in any capacity. Marcus adds as an unnecessarily reminder, just the thought of harming her bringing about an intense pain. Caius growls, irrationally angry at the fact that he could do nothing to bring his mate to be with him. Not that he would want to harm her or hurt her. It went against his very nature and desire to want to harm his mate. So we can do nothing? Caius hisses, fist clenching, feeling as if he wanted to throw a temper tantrum at the thought. Let us return to the castle, and then Felix and Dimitri can be sent out to track her, watch over her. Felix has seen her. Once they have found her, Felix can return, leaving Dimitri to watch her. Aro suggests. Fine, Caius hisses, quickly stomping into the car. Aro sighs, sliding into the car after his brother, Marcus quickly following. The castle, Felix. Marcus commands. Yes, master. Felix answers, quickly rerouting to the Volterra castle. Returning to the castle, a new life would seem to fill it as news would quickly spread through the ranks of the Volturi Guard of the potential of the king's new mate and the shift of the hierarchy now that she was found. Dmitri and Felix being sent to track her and keep watch, and the king's perhaps a little overzealous and underestimating the fierce, independent personality that Anastasia would have. A new room was prepared instantly, they having at least the foresight that Anastasia would not be comfortable sharing one with them immediately upon residing in the Volterra castle. Sophia and Athendora were other matters entirely, though they were the current partners to Aro and Caius. The two women knew no matter how long they stood by the kings, it was only a matter of time. They did not despise them for finding their true mate, and only wished that they too could have found theirs. Diademi, Marcus's partner, had found hers several centuries ago, and had been granted Marcus and the other two kings' blessing, though it remained in the Volturi Guard. They so-called wives had more been a matter of close friendship to ease the centuries of loneliness and perhaps, at a time, love, but not like a true mate. It would never be that deepness of devotion or love. As state plans continued in the castle of Volterra, Haro, Caius, and Marcus, seemingly one only more agitated by not having Anastasia close to them, crossed the Volterra city as evening and night descended. Anastasia was little aware of anything changing as they were, something like destiny, like a shift in the cosmos where bonds felt. Let alone Dmitri perched lightly outside the balcony of her hotel suite, a silent sentinel over his new queen. And that's that for this time. I hope you've had a lovely time, as I have had. Remember to drink water, eat food, have fun, sleep, do your daily tasks. And I hope we'll see each other next time. And I hope I will be more, on schedule with things. Yeah. Anyways, have a lovely night. Bye bye.